Hello everyone. Today is July 11th and my name is Jacob. Today we get to dive into Amos, and part 1 will cover chapters 1 through 5. Amos was a shepherd and a fig tree farmer in the land of Tekoa that was used by God to deliver many judgments, poems, and sermons to Israel in the time of Jeroboam, king of Israel, the second one, who was also a very wicked ruler. Amos is comprised of 9 chapters that can be divided into 3 sections. Chapters 1 and 2, 3 through 6, and 7 through 9. Chapters 1 and 2 are about a list of judgments on the surrounding kingdoms of Israel for the wicked acts each of them has committed. And each neighboring kingdom committed these egregious acts, and the Bible records it with the phrase, for 3 transgressions and for 4. And that's stating that each kingdom committed 4 transgressions, with the 4th being the worst offense. Damascus ravaged Gilead with iron sledges, mercilessly killing its inhabitants. Gaza exiled an entire people group into the hands of the Edomites. Tyre betrayed a relationship that they had with a neighboring people and also handed them over to the Edomites. Edom was relentless in its pursuit to destroy an ally. The Ammonites murdered pregnant women to grow their borders. And the Moabites disgraced the remains of an Edomite king. And then Amos begins to focus closer to home, starting with Judah. Judah rejected the law of the Lord and instead spread lies to its inhabitants. And then Amos gives a much longer look into the sins of Israel, describing each of the 4 acts of transgression. Israel was involved with human trafficking, abusing the weak, committing dark sexual sins, and mocking the presence of God in his own temple by celebrating the abuse of the poor, all while giving massive offerings and sacrifices to boost their egos. Amos spares no words with Israel and makes it clear that God is done with their sin. Moving on to chapters 3 through 5, Amos shifts into his poems and sermons, where he lays out the depravity of Israel's condition. And he boldly proclaims God's might and eventual response to their sin. God hears the cry of the broken, the abused, the manipulated, and he takes action to bring saving grace by his son, Jesus. And in many ways, Amos is an archetype of what Jesus will eventually do and say to the Jewish leaders in his time. And he remains in that position to this day. We will also find out more of this in tomorrow's overview, but to finish out today's thoughts. What all these kingdoms did is in direct opposition to God and his way. And God is taking time with Amos for the people in that time, as well as us in this time, to see and to learn from that. We are to be good. We are to do good to those around us, to build each other up, to strengthen each other in times of weakness, and sacrifice our wants for the people hurting around us. And it's also a time for us to reflect on our own lives and ask some hard questions concerning the decisions that we make, that we take stock in. They have an impact on our loved ones and our community. But remain encouraged, friends. God has a message of hope, and his name is Jesus. His sacrifice has given us access to an eternity where pain and sorrow will never penetrate. And I want to leave you with that thought today to ponder. And I just want to thank you all for your time today.